Okay, good morning, everybody. I owe you guys an apology. Yesterday, or the other day when I did that last video, I realized when I put it together that I completely missed an entire section of of putting that together. It's like I went from working on the top rails and cutting out the hanging rails, and then all of a sudden the entire fence was assembled. So, but fortunately I still have more to do. So I'm going to show you guys what I did for laying out little tricks that work. I still have to cut these posts out and drill the holes in them, and then I've got to make all the pickets and lay those all out. Get the bottom rail in and assembled. So here's where we're at right now. So now this side is real thin, so I'm going to go with a larger post and drill it out. It's not going to be this side. I'm going to use this post will go on this side, and I can drill that out and insert it in. But on this side over here, if I go with a smaller one to fit in here, then it's not going to fit my bottom rail at all. So what I'm going to actually end up doing is, let's see how, well, anyway, I got to cut this to length, and then I'm going to drill it out, and this will insert into it. I'll cut it at the halfway point, right about there. I'll cut this off, and yet I'll have more than half a hole. I'm going to have it so that it goes to the top, so I'll have my hole. The top will just be missing on it. So yeah, that's anyway, I'll show you as I go. And then I've got a layout for all my pickets and screw those on, and that's what I did do on the last one, screw them on. So I'm hoping today's session will go a lot faster, though I still have to split my pickets to and it'll take about 16 pickets to do the whole thing. So we got a lot of work, and I'm starting a little late today. I had to go get some blood work done and just a few things. So yeah, so we're set up. We're kind of dealing with a little weather too, so if that could be a problem. And this one here is going to be my bottom rail. I've got to cut off all the burrs and stuff. So I'm going to get started on that, get all the material cut, and then I will show you guys once again. I can do the drilling and show you what I was talking about on that post. So we're going to let you go for a while, and then we'll come back once I have all the rails ready to assemble so that you can see that, and then we'll start working on the pickets. But yeah, you know, when I get working, I get so focused on what I'm doing, I forget about the videoing and trying to video, you know, trying to be the film crew, the instructor, and the fabricator is really complicated. It's kind of way above my pay grade, but anyway, it's fun to do. Don't get me wrong, I like doing stuff like this, and I like showing you guys how to build, and it's what I am an expert at. Not necessarily bamboo, but you know, building. So all right, we'll let you go. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Aloha. Okay, everybody, I just cut out all the pukas in the rails, holes in the rail. And so I want to show you, just prior to assembling it, I still have to oil it and cedar it, but then I'm going to go ahead and just put it together. I'll show you what it's going to look like. So, as I explained earlier, this end is too big for this thing, and for me to cut it down and use a small one, then I wouldn't have been able to get that large bottom rail on, which I need. So what I did here was drill this out so that it can take this like so. So that goes on there. And then down here, the bottom rail, this is just slides right into that, like so. Then I'll fasten all these with screws. And then on this side, this rail was fine. So we're going to put this one in here like so. And then we got, see, that can go in farther. I got a little sloppy on this one, so you're going to have to bear with me on it. But that's what we got. So this one, and this one fits real snug here. Let's see, bring it in, bring it in. Okay, so that's our rail, our rails. It goes ahead and all goes together like that. So it makes a nice rectangle. And then what I do is I've got to lay out my pickets. Let me show you here. What I do is a little trick from making railings on housings for me. My layout, I put on this 2x4 so that I can just transfer it on to the posts. So this is right at, what do we got there? Just about center to center. It's just about 6 inches center to center. So let's see, we'll bring this down a little bit. Okay, yeah, this has got to come in a little. I have it 1 inch there. Okay, so that's that. And we're just a hair off, so we're going to move it a little bit. So this layout should give us 6-inch center between every single picket. And I do it on the top, and then I'll lay it out on the bottom. And we should have uniform gap between it. And if it's not, then what I do is I center it in such a way that my end pickets have the smaller space on each side, and then everything else is uniform all the way across. So it's just an easy way of dealing with it without having to sit there and calculate exactly the spaces and divide them up evenly. So this works perfect. With a 6-inch space, I end up with about a 4-inch gap in between, because each picket is about 2 inches wide, and so you take that 2 inches, so inch on each side of this is where the picket actually comes to, and then to here. So that reduces my opening down to about 4 inches, which for handrails, that's technically what you're required to have by law, and so a child can't get his head through it. But 4 inches is big enough for the cats to get through, so that's going to work out just fine. So that's where we're at right now. I'll let you go. I've still got to lay this out, and I've got to paint the cedar on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drill in screws on each side to tie this all together so it's good and solid. And then we'll be, let's see here, the little cup of coffee there we go. There we go. So there you have it. That's how this whole thing's going to look in the end. And as you saw the other one, it'll be the same. But these are the things that I failed to show you last time, so I want to make sure that you guys got to see how this lays out. So if any of you are thinking of doing something, probably most of you guys that are watching are a lot smarter than your average home do-it-yourselfer, so this is not a problem. But for those of you, and I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, it's just if you don't have experience with it, you don't know how to do it. So for those of you that don't know how to do it, I wanted to show you so that you had a good working relationship with laying it out and the things that you need to do. And in actuality, probably the tools I'm using are a little beyond most do-it-yourselfers' pay grade. Like these hole saws, the kit for those, it's about $100 for the kit. But if you are building a bamboo fence, you know, it pays for itself in the fence. I have them just because it's the business I'm in. But for those of you that are contemplating, a hole saw is really a nice tool to have if you're thinking of building a bamboo fence. So with that said, I'm going to bid you aloha, and I will get back to you guys as soon as we start laying in the pickets, so you have a good idea how that looks too. All right, you guys, take care and aloha. All right, in this portion of the video, I wanted to show you guys my story pole, or it's a layout stick, whatever you want to call it. I have marks every 6 inches laid out on the 2x4, and I'm going to transfer that to the top and bottom rails for the pickets. So as you can see right now, I'm transferring those marks directly to the top rail now, and we just go along. The nice thing about doing it on a story pole like this is you can adjust your two ends so that you have a, you know, if it's not a full 6 inches on each of those, you can adjust them to where they're 3 and 3, or, you know, depending on what size it is, you know. So you get a uniform look, and then everything else will be the 6 inch distance between it. But at least that gives you a more uniform layout, and you don't have to sit down and calculate exactly what, you know, however many pickets you decide you're going to use, what the dimensions are between it, so that it's uniform from, you know, side rail to side rail, and everything's uniform. So this will give you a decent look. Fortunately, this is 96 inch 2x4, and so the 6 inch layout works out just perfect from center to center on my two side rails. So everything is uniformly 6 inches, with actually a 4-inch gap, because most of these are about 2-inch pickets that I'm putting on. So yeah, I use it on the one side, and then I'm going to move that up to the well, to the bottom also for the bottom rail. And so my two side rails are at 96 inches, so it worked out real good, fortunately, for this one. The other one I had, it was actually 102 inches, so, you know, we ended up with a little bit difference, and I used that on the two sides so they were uniform. See, 106, that's, yeah, that worked out to 6 inches. So we had an extra 6 inches on that one. So, yeah, so as you can see, I'm just laying these out. It'll be uniform all the way across. And then those are the center lines for my pickets. Like I said, the pickets are about 2 inches wide, so I center it on that, and that gives me roughly a 4-inch gap in between, including the end rails. So it looks all uniform and nice. So yeah, we're getting this all cleaned up and ready to go, and then I can start laying my pickets in. So I just, this was one of the things that I failed to show yesterday, so I wanted you guys to see that. It's a real simple trick. You lay it out once on a board, and then I can use this throughout the job. And I did use it the other day when I did the first panel. So, but I failed to, you know, I got so busy doing all this stuff that I forgot to show you guys. So my apologies for that. Oh, actually, this side is the cap rail, and the bottom side is the bottom rail. So anyway, now we're going to get the pickets out and start laying out the pickets, so that, and then I'm going to screw them in the top and the bottom, laying them out on the layout. So it's a relatively simple project, and we'll show you that next. I'm going to do that at a hyper speed, so because I think it took like 39 minutes to actually screw it all off. So, and I know you don't want to sit here for that long. I certainly wouldn't want to watch it for that long. Anyway, so let's get moving on, and I'm going to let you go here. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you. I laid that 2x4 down at the bottom, 3 inches below my rail. That's going to be a stop, so when I lay down my pickets, I can butt them right up to that. And then from there, we lay them on layout and screw in both the top rail and the bottom rail. And I will do that all the way across the floor. So, yeah, let me get up some pickets here and I'll show you exactly what we're doing. So, anyway, okay, lay this down, slide it right to the 2x4 at the end, and then that determines the distance that each of these hangs beyond the bottom rail and the top rail. Everything's cut uniform, so it saves me time having to come back and deal with this. So let's get started here. Okay, I'm putting that on layout right now, and then I'm going to pre-drill the picket, both on the top rail and the bottom rail, and then set the screw. So I'm going to let you guys watch as I do all this. And I'll do one for you, and then we're going to speed this thing right up, and you get to watch the whole thing just plow right through it. So anyway, there's the bit. It's a countersinking bit, and I do that through, and then I go ahead and set the I'm using deck screws, some 1 5/8 and some 2 inch, depending on how big the picket is that I'm putting it in. So anyway, let me get rolling on this. And okay, so we now have all the pickets in place. This is going to be a little harder to do, because I'm going to take you down here. You can look down the line. You see how the pickets are up and down, and I've got to get my rails in there. So I'll flip that thing over. See, I've got to drill it. I got to snap a line. Flip it over, snap a line. Okay, here we are at the end of the project for the day. We got the second panel up. I do need to tie off that one bottom. I still have a lot more tying off to do, but this is what it's going to be looking like now. So there you go. There it is. So that's as far as we gotten right now, but looks pretty good to me. All right, I'm gonna let you go because I'm just about out of juice on this camera. So that's it. All right, talk to you guys later. Aloha. All right, here you go. This is one more shot from the house. Just wanted to check that out too. So this is as far as the project goes for right now, and we will get back to you at a later date. I hope you guys like what you're seeing. Anyway, yeah, just those rails I put in today, they're just tied off, and I have a whole lot more tying off to do to those rails. So it is not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but this is what the design of the fence is going to look like, and this is how it's progressing. So we'll talk to you guys later, and it'll probably be a while before you hear from me, but just so you know, this is where we're at. All right, aloha.